Hello everyone, and welcome to the fourth and final part of this video series on Daniel Solove's privacy taxonomy. Be sure to check out the first 3 videos if you haven't already. I will link them in the description of this video. This video is going to be relatively short since we only have 2 terms to discuss. This is where we stand in the big picture. The data has been collected and leaked, and what are now the implications for the individual or data subject, as they are correctly called. Solove calls this final stage invasion, and it comes in 2 different forms: intrusion and decisional interference. First, intrusion. The privacy of one's home is a fundamental right so deeply rooted in our society. In 1868, it was noted by Thomas Cooley that it is better oftentimes that crime should go unpunished than that the citizens should be liable to have his premises invaded, his trunks broken open, and so on. The term "my home is my castle" stems from at least 1499. In the US, the Fourth Amendment protects one's home from government searches. All this to say, your home is pretty well protected by law, and there is historic agreement over the necessity and expectation of legal protection. Intrusion is related to disclosure, a term I explained in part 3 of this series. As I cannot disclose anything if I haven't previously gathered some information by intrusion. This does not necessarily have to be physical intrusion into one's home, but can also come from, for example, surveillance. Having a private space to oneself is crucial not only for the personal well-being, but for society as a whole. Next up is decisional interference. This term can best be described by the manipulating of someone in such a way that their decisions about something is changed. For example, if a doctor prescribes a drug against HIV-induced sickness, the patient might not want to take that pill if the fact becomes public. So, to avoid the interference of that decision, strong privacy guarantees, such as encryption and anonymization, have to be in place, which in turn make life-saving drugs more available. This final term is also closely related to previously discussed terms, for example, disclosure, since the threat of disclosing information can prevent someone from doing something, as we've seen in the example before, and increased availability, as the threat of disclosure might only exist because so much data is published nowadays. There are several other previously discussed elements and terms of the privacy taxonomy that are related to this one. But now we conclude this video and this series. The privacy is always going to be a somewhat soft concept that can be interpreted differently by different people. The most common definition you will find in academic literature is the one given by Warren and Brandeis: privacy is the right to be let alone. As we've seen throughout this video series, it's not always that simple. Once you start thinking about why certain things are actually privacy invasive, you go down the rabbit hole, which is exactly what Solove did. And he provided practitioners of law as well as scientists, privacy researchers, this taxonomy. If you have the time and are interested, it is worthwhile to read the whole article. It covers court cases, quotes from scientists, and many real-world examples. Solove wants to make sure that he has a solid foundation for what he says. I already said that the taxonomy is still used today, which only shows its impact. I know few things in the IT world which are used 18 years after their inception. And this is not restricted to academia. The NIST, a government agency, also references Solove's taxonomy in their privacy engineering guidelines. And that's it for the fourth and final part of this series. I hope you learned something and found it interesting. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.